Welcome back to the First Morning Experience, everybody. I'm Reid. Today we're going to be talking about microburst. It's going to accelerate down, and once it reaches the ground, it's going to push outward, and we are going to see winds up to 150 miles per hour.
This weather phenomenon takes place in the upstate part of New York. You have the Mohawk River Valley and the Hudson River Valley, which both come together or intersect in the capital region. This creates specific weather patterns. There are two sides to every mountain, the windward side and the leeward side.
Go take a hike, but before you do, there are a couple things you need to know, especially for hiking in the wintertime. Joining me today is our morning meteorologist and avid outdoorsman himself, Neil Estano. And Neil, last year, because of COVID-19, we saw a lot of novice hikers. And with that, we saw a record number of rescues out in parts of the Adirondacks and in the Catskills. We want to avoid that, obviously, heading into the wintertime. What are some things that you need to know and be prepared for heading into a winter hike?
Well, what people really need to know is what the weather's going to be. So our forecasts are very key. You want to know what you're getting into.
You've probably seen fog in the morning hours, but how does fog form and why is it so common during the morning? We're about to find out. Now, to break it down simply, fog is basically just a cloud that reaches the ground surface. And the most common type of fog that we are going to be talking about today is known as radiation fog.
We're going to be making a tornado in a bottle. Some of the things you're going to need are a clear bottle, water, liquid dish soap, and glitter. You're going to want to spin the bottle in a circular motion. This is creating centripetal force, which brings everything to the center, creating a water vortex that resembles a tornado on land. How cool is that?
Hey there, and welcome back to the First Warning Experience. I'm meteorologist Christina Talamo, and today we're going to be talking about how it can hail during the summertime. We have our cloud, and in the summer months when we have a more severe thunderstorm, we have these typical storm clouds, these towering cumulonimbus clouds. And what happens within these clouds is we have these updrafts. We're about to light things up. Today for our experiment, we are going to prove that warm air rises in the atmosphere. But there are also other chemicals produced in leaves that can cause different colors, these yellows, oranges, reds, and purples that we see in the fall. So what happens as we head into the fall season, that is when we get to see less sunlight during the day, as well as that temperature starts to drop. And those are two signals for chlorophyll to stop being produced.
As that interacts with the ice on top of the bodies of water, it's going to melt, leaving chunks of ice to move further downstream. And what happens is sometimes these bodies of water curve or they narrow, and that ice becomes stuck. And as it starts to pile up, the water has less openings for it to travel through, so that ice starts to back up and the water levels start to rise and overflow out of the banks and into the surrounding region.
Welcome back to the First Morning Experience. I'm meteorologist Allison Finch.
And I'm Reid, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between high pressure and low pressure. A lot of the time when we give our forecasts, we say things like high pressure is building into the region, but we don't go into much more detail about it.
We determine the weather due to air pressure. When we have a drop in air pressure, that's what we call low pressure.
Prepare to be amazed. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to make your very own cloud in a bottle. A cloud typically is formed from the sun heating up a parcel of air on the ground. As it warms and rises into the atmosphere, it's going to start to cool down and condense on some particles in the upper levels of the atmosphere, giving you a cloud. Ever hear the saying, red sky at morning, sailors take warning, red sky at night, sailors delight? We're going to take a closer look at that and see how much of that saying is actually true.
Let's talk about why we can see a red sky at sunrise. Now that typically happens because if we have a cloud in the west, we have these particles in the atmosphere, that sunlight is going to scatter those blue and violet colors.
Are scattered and reflected out, and your yellows, your oranges, your reds continues to reach further out to the east. They'll come in contact with clouds, and that red is what's reflected back to you. Thanks everybody for watching. If you have any questions about what we just talked about or any other weather phenomena, feel free to reach out to us, whether it's on social media or send us an email, and who knows, maybe next week we'll be talking about that. Thanks for watching, guys.